say this again. I said it in the introduction, which obviously was scripted. You probably saw me reading it because I wanted to make sure I got it right. But what we did is we asked on Facebook if anyone had any, again, misconceptions, myths, or just views about therapy that they'd like to kind of get out in the open, and maybe just ask therapists their view on it. And we did get a very positive response, just because people were brave enough to actually tell us what their experience was. So, do you want me to go first? Because I don't know about the...
I mean, I'm just sort of following on from that. There's a lot more people out there that have had therapy than we ever think, you know. It's quite a personal process, and there's probably people that are having therapy that you probably wouldn't even think they would be having. So, you know, it is a normal and natural process, which a lot of people experience and have very positive results from. So,
extremely positive.
Yeah.
And following on from that is it always surprises people when I say, well, I'm in therapy, and they go, well, they look at me shocked and go, well, but you're a therapist, and they're like, well, yeah, but I'm in therapy, and it is a good ethical remit of all therapists that they are in their own therapy, so that we can just check in. So
we're all human, aren't
we?
We're all
the line of the video, we are all human. This perfect, that should have been a myth on here. Perfect lives, you know, you've got your life sorted out.
No.
We encounter lives, our lives, encounter absolutely everything. Everyone else does. Oh dear. Yeah. Okay, so questions and views. Now, I wanted to read this one because the person who said this actually private messaged me on Facebook, which I thought was very brave because it felt more close to their heart. And it reads, I don't think it's an urban myth, but there's a fear with any career, such as emergency services, doctors, lawyers, and even pilots, that it might have to be disclosed on medical records, and as such, might affect their employment. Now, I think what they're saying is if you're in therapy, will that have to influence, or be told in a new job that you're taking on a career? Now, I need to state, because this is going on the net, that we don't have any real evidence when it comes to this for higher ranking jobs, because, of course, say, for example, MI5, MI6, I'm pretty sure and confident you probably have to go through some form of psychological testing. But I'm not entirely confident that would mean that just because, or if you suffered from a mental illness in the past, or just enrolled in therapy to get to know yourself better, would have any influence on your job role. Again, I can't say that for certain, but in a general rule, as in every other job apart from, say, for example, MI5, MI6, absolutely not. And we're not obligated to give any information or confidentiality agreement.
Totally.
Totally
confidential. You know,
if we were if we were asked by an employer, we would not even acknowledge that we have a client of that name. It just wouldn't. Yeah. It just doesn't.
It's not work. It's private and totally confidential. So,
I think just as we're talking about confidential, the only exceptions to the rule, which you would be told by any therapist, the only exceptions to the confidentiality agreement is if you were to express feelings of wanting to harm yourself or others. That is the only loophole in the confidentiality. Am I missing any? No, that is literally the only. Yeah.
Of somebody else.
But everything else, no. So yeah, what else have we got here? There is.
People sometimes dismiss the counselling, you know, without thinking it through, you know, with a second thought, really, you know, believing that
yes,
it's a sign of weakness or mental health problems. You know, sometimes when these things go unchecked, it can go and lead to mental health problems. But I think if you can take a step, nip it in the bud, something that will help you get back to where you think and you want to be, then
it's not a sign of weakness.
It is definitely
not a sign of weakness. No,
it's
not
at all.
a sign
of weakness. So.
Yeah, I like that. I'm just wondering whether or not.
Have you got anything else you want to share, Ollie?
I think I'll read this one out because this was actually on the Facebook wall, so they actually put this and other people could see, which I always thought was, again, exceptionally brave. But it starts with, I would definitely go to a counsellor if I felt I needed extra help. And then it says, I had a bit of a breakdown about 13 years ago and pretty much didn't tell a soul. Just got on with it. For 3 months I just wasn't me, and it was the worst 3 months of my life. I must admit that a sterile white couch environment room would really put me off, so I wasn't sure what I would do. I didn't want to go to the doctors as I didn't want to be put on any drugs. Now, the first thing that I would jump at with that is suffering on your own for 3 months. I wouldn't think that's a good thing. There are loads of options, NHS, doctors, referral, things like that you would do. But no, I would say please, to anyone if you're in that position, get in touch with your local GP. Get on a list to see a free counsellor. They're brilliant guys and girls who will help you out there. There's loads of things you can call. If you want any questions, again, please ask us, email us, whatever.
I mean, you know, if money is an issue, then obviously there's lots of voluntary processes. A lot of therapists work on a sliding scale.
We work on a sliding scale.
You know, of what people can afford. So it's something that can be discussed as and when. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, this person's jumped in with, I didn't want to go to the doctors because I didn't want to be put on any drugs. So, I mean, that definitely seems to be rising up there. But I don't know. Okay, so over the years, I'm not sure if that one's relevant. Quick one as well. Someone just put, I feel the word psychotherapy and psychologists, etc. are daunting, and it makes people feel confronted by the thoughts of seeing a shrink.
They sound like big words to a lot of people.
They are, psychobabble again.
White coat.
Yeah, but
it conjures up. But
it did for me then.
It basically, you know, if you don't like the psycho bit, we'll just call it therapy because it
counsellors, therapists, it's the same.
They're quite interlinked.
Absolutely. So don't let the and a psychologist is not the same actually, but we don't need to cover that. I think really we're almost there. Questions wise. This person here actually has put, over the years I've had counselling a few times, and each time I've felt uncomfortable. Years ago it was because it was too clinical, the person only saw in black and white and made me feel even more inferior than I was at the time. Eek, that doesn't horrendous.
Sound good. Not a good rapport going on there, I don't think. Obviously not the right therapist for the client, that person. So, you know, so you do obviously hear stories like that.
I didn't like the black and white bit.
No, I didn't.
No. We're not black and white. In fact, I don't think we're not black and white. No, it's grey. The world is grey. It's not black and white. Absolute doesn't exist because the perspective of the person is what's important. If the person who wrote that would like to get in contact with me, you're more than welcome. But I hope you're doing well. I think really we're pretty much there. I mean, we've gone through a lot of lists. Oh, I've got one I might just chuck in there because I think this actually is quite a general misconception. But is it a misconception? So yeah, we can finish off on one of the interesting ones. This is the myth. Therapists are all new-aged, warm, fuzzy types. You're good enough, you're smart enough, the cheerleader types. Now, we're not cheerleader culture in England, but I can presume that this is from America. It's interesting because I don't want to just go, no, we're not, because the irony is that if someone said to me I was warm and hot, fuzzy, I'd think that would be quite good. But I think if someone is too warm and fuzzy, you're going to do this, it's going to be great, and it's too positive, applied at the wrong time, can actually do more harm than good, I think, or feel, perhaps. Are you a warm and fuzzy type? I think you might be a warm and fuzzy type.
I like to think I'm a warm person, but obviously, people experience people in different ways, and it's who they can work with, really. It's who the client can work with. I mean, obviously, some people would like to speak to a male or a female.
Which we have both options at Calm Journey.
Where you want to
but I'm thinking now, I'm thinking because I am a soul. See, I'm borderlining warm and fuzzy here, and that's the worrying part. I have a worrying. It's not worrying. I have a deep feeling that everyone is born enough. You're always born enough. So I suppose I do fall into that. You are good enough. You are good enough. Would I say that to a client the first time? No, not at all. Because if you're not feeling good enough, you don't want to be told that you're good enough.
You have to discover that.
You have to discover that, because believe it or not, it is within.
Yeah.
It's within.
Yeah.
And that's it. In fact, that's a perfect note to finish up on.
Yeah.
So what I would say is thank you very much for taking the time to listen to us.
Thank you.
I've probably said it a few too many times, but if you do want to get in contact with us, please visit our website, just email us. That's not an obligation, it's nothing. We just like to get involved with people who may need just a nudge, helping hand, whatever.
Just a step to the next
step of your life, and we can go from there. So visit calmjourney.co.uk, and if you have time, there's an inspirational wisdom part on our website which has a few extracts from a gentleman called Alan Watts, and if you ever need a bit of a nudge, using that word again, nudge, just to make you feel a little bit better, I would recommend doing that. So thank you very much, and take care of yourselves, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Goodbye.